So
Oh,
hopefully we'll begin shortly.
also, congrats on that DC fan
Thank
video.
you.
That was really well done. I was so surprised too, because I'm looking at it in my feed and I'm like, oh hey, Sal and Tiffany did another video. Then I'm like, wait, this isn't their Twitter. Hey, wait a minute, this is from the official DC Twitter. Yeah,
Yeah, that
good
was
for them.
nice. That was a cool
How'd
opportunity.
that come about?
It was just they emailed me like and they were like, "Hey, you should like we liked what you did with American Alien 1. Would you like to do number 2?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, that this is literally like by the way 2 weeks ago." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I don't have access to in the American Alien 2." And they're like, "Well, what if we gave you access
An advance copy.
to American Alien 2?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, that would be a whole different story." And so
I could move some things around if I had to in my schedule.
yeah, so a minute later I got an email with
That's
with a special digital fingerprint that was like, if you freaking let this out, guess
we will
what?
come for you.
We know who did it.
Did you see that movie Taken? It'll be just like that.
Yeah. Only we'll send Batman or something.
I've only ever gotten two advance comic copies ever in my life. One I technically shouldn't have gotten because the writer already had one foot out the door at the time and just didn't give a crap. So they're like, "Yeah, here, review it, do it up early. I don't care. I'm gone." They made me write a thing I didn't like, so just go ahead with it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "Hey, I'm not your hitman, but I'll take it anyway, sir. Thank you."
Oh yeah, totally.
And then the other one I got early was the final issue of Jimmy Palmiotti's later Painkiller Jane series, and that's his creator-owned thing. So he literally
Yeah.
just went around to every critic in his email and was like, "Hey, you want to review this final issue for me?"
That's awesome. That's very nice.
That's the thing, and I'm like, I certainly will. The funny thing was I was waiting for that book to be done in trade, so I'm like, so you give me this one free, now I have to run out and buy the other three issues.
Exactly.
Just for context.
Yeah, you can't have one issue and then like wait for the trade.
Mm-hmm. So he kind of won all the way.
All right. Let's see how we're doing before we begin. Just making sure it plays.
Mm.
Oh, I'm not even on the Wi-Fi. That explains that. Looks good.
Cool.
Sounds good too. All right, cool. All right, then let me do my patented intro here that I'm trying out. That was loud. Screw it! Hey everybody, welcome to the Elseworlds Exchange. I am Sal.
You sure are.
Yeah, that's right. Don't you forget it.
No one can take that away from you.
Yeah, they probably could if they, had legal precedent, but
They will buy your name out from under you and make you change it.
yeah. And that over there is Cape Joel, my co-host and partner in crime. We were talking about doing the Elseworlds Exchange, like what should we do next? And we were both kind of jazzed for the holiday, so we thought, hey, let's do it upright. Let's do some holiday cheer. Let's spread some holiday cheer around.
Let us. I mean, we were just talking before we started about the Christmas crunch that we're all kind of in now, trying to run around, get that last minute gift, trying, get the food together. You got to make the Christmas dip. I don't know about you, but I make a Christmas dip every year.
I do not make a Christmas dip. I don't even know what that's supposed to be.
I do a salmon dip, and I also do like the spinach dip in the pumpernickel bread, if you've ever had that.
Oh, yes, I do. That's awesome. That's
It
really
is
cool.
good.
Nice.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I just go, out. I go to it used to be that I would go, we got two celebrations. We got the Christmas Eve, and then we got the Christmas Day. Two different houses. They're all mine. They're either my parents' house or they're a relative's house that lives in the area. I used to have a friend's Christmas, but as the friends dwindled down, we have fewer of those. Now
That's the thing about Christmas for all our younger fans out there. Your Christmases will actually get smaller and smaller. And I know at the point I am now, it's probably the smallest Christmas has ever been for me.
Really?
Yeah, not near as much family to visit anymore for any number of reasons.
Right.
All my friends have moved away, and even then they weren't exactly, like, hey, come hang out with us in Christmas. Although I guess some of them do come back and will maybe go see a movie. I'll probably end up going to see Force Awakens again.
Yeah, or you could go see Hateful Eight.
Could go see the Hateful Eight because it's New Year's, isn't it?
It comes out on Christmas Day.
They moved it up even further.
Yeah. Well, maybe in Canada it's different, but over here it's
possibly.
Christmas Day. I can't wait, man. That's
gonna be good.
Yeah. there was a time when I was more excited, when I would be more excited for Hateful Eight, but now that I've heard that like there's some, there's some good Star Wars rumblings, I am totally in. So I'm more excited for Star Wars, but I can't wait for Hateful Eight.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. It's funny because that was like the Tarantino movie that almost didn't happen because he had a bit of a conniption fit when the script leaked. I was like, I'm never doing this. Okay, fine, one night only. I'll get all the actors together and we'll read the script, and you'll have to pay a bunch of money to come see it.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, people really like that? Well, maybe I'll just make the movie.
Well, then I guess I'll do it. I mean, I remember reading that he wasn't going to do it, and I guess I was like, I don't know why I believed him. I was like, wow, he's really not going to make this movie. I guess because I'm like, you know what, Tarantino could literally just go like, fuck it, throw it away, write another amazing script and move on. I kind of hoped that he was going to do a palate cleanser, like he'd just done a Western, why another Western right after it?
Because he likes Westerns, apparently. He's like, yeah, so I found out making Django Unchained that I really like Westerns, so I'm going to make another one now.
I mean, like, the fact is, they're also really cheap to make. So it's that's probably also appealing to him. You don't need really a permit to shoot in, like, Hollywood Boulevard. You could just literally go to California, like, to just the woods of California. I used to work with a guy who really sucks, and he's a real fucker. But
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, but back when I used to work with him, he shot like a fan film, and he just legitimately, he lived in California, he just walked out into the the fields that look exactly like they did 150 years ago, and shot their apocalyptic wasteland, and was like, cool,
location, man.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm actually planning, speaking of Christmas specials, I don't know if you are aware, but here at ComicPOP, back when we were TV Little House, used to make Christmas specials. And
I am very aware of those. I thought those were super cool.
Thank you for watching them. You are one of the 5, and
I am one of those 5.
And by the way, we're not doing a Christmas special this year for the 3 other people who are excited about it, but it's only because doing this channel and running everything else was, and also one of our key actors or friends of mine who was going to be in it had a baby 2 months early, so it kind of like threw off like the original plan. I was like, oh, we'll do this. No, okay, and then it's only going to be like 3 people in the special. No, I don't want to do that. And then it just fell apart. So also the script I wrote, because I'm writing a script, it's too big to have shot it in like the small window of time we had. So I thought, like, you know what I'll do? I'll start now, and then hopefully by next Christmas it'll be done. Like, so I'll just shoot it from now until next year, and then maybe we'll have an epic Christmas special for that.
That's time. Thinking ahead.
That's what I want to do. That's what we did with our biggest one. 'Twas the Night Before Yesterday. It was just literally we had the idea in June, and then just started shooting up until Christmas. So that really worked out. I kind of wanted to return to that, because that was the second one we did out of like 5. So I was like, man, that was the biggest one, the second one. But
I was at an idea I wanted to pitch for my own Christmas special. It's kind of a parody. I'm surprised, honestly, no one's thought to do it right now.
Yeah.
Let's do Taken, but with Santa Claus. All the elves get taken, the entire workforce gets taken, and Santa needs to like go out there and start breaking legs to get the toy makers back.
That sounds great. I love that.
And then the big twist at the end of it is you find out they were stolen by the Chinese government, because obviously all toys come from China.
Yes.
Everything gets made there, so they were mad at Santa for horning in on their racket.
Nice.
And then it's literally Santa versus the Red Army. I mean, how fun would that be? Because he wears a red suit and the Red Army. And
yeah, you see.
There you go.
It's like poetry. Now that brings us, of course, to our discussion about the holiday, about Christmas. By the way, for those of you who do not celebrate Christmas, you should not feel alienated by this, I hope. The fact is...
In fact, we had actually planned to do a Hanukkah episode, believe it or not. We actually... That was on our list of ones we wanted to celebrate Jewish comic book characters.
That's right. And, man, we missed that.
Neither of us are Jewish. We just wanted to do it.
Yeah, exactly. The fact is, like, the beginnings of the comic book industry were founded by a lot of Jewish people, and the fact is there are several characters that are Jewish that are incredibly prominent in the world, in the comic book world. And we just dropped the ball. Did
you know Harley Quinn apparently was originally supposed to be Jewish?
That would not surprise me.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Like, I was doing a video earlier. I was talking about Holiday Nights, that great Batman the Animated
Yes.
Series special, which is itself an adaptation of a Paul Dini comic, the Batman Holiday Adventures, from the short-lived comic line that existed there. And apparently, in that story, they make a bunch of references to Harleen Quinzel actually being Jewish,
Nice. Nice.
which I kind of wish they kept. I think that would be fun.
I mean, is it official? I don't think they could. I mean, you could. It's like the Thing being Jewish. Like, he's just always been Jewish, just never came up. So
Yeah.
fine. Man, yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, Dini wrote it, so it's canon. If it's canon in his head, then it's canon in
That's
my
true.
head.
The man's he is the father of Harley Quinn. That's his baby. You gotta respect
Yeah.
him. But that's a great point, because, like, okay, so we didn't get a chance to do that, but let's talk about Christmas specials, because or Christmas dominated pop culture icons and ideas, because growing up, nothing made me feel more like it's the Christmas season than TV.
It's true.
Than the
You
Christmas
you
special.
didn't know it was. You needed it to get into the spirit. And I would say, as I get older and more jaded and more cynical, I need my specials now more than ever to
It's
help
true.
me get to the spirit.
Yeah, I need my saccharine nostalgia dialed up to 11. It needs
Yep.
to be just this concentrated, juice-filled nostalgia can. So let's go over some of our favorite Christmas specials. What were
please.
some now you guys, you're Canadian obviously, but I think we had a little bit of overlap. I know you just found Civilization in Canada like about 20 or 30 years ago. So that's
true.
right around the same time that our Christmas specials really started to ramp up. So out of the wilderness from Canada, what did you guys have to ring in the new year on TV?
I mean, I think a good jumping off point here is probably one that they've done a million times and everyone has their own favorite version. That is A Christmas Carol.
Oh, yes. Okay, now Christmas Carol is an amazing show that I never really appreciated. I always took it for granted. I always thought it was kind of like dumb. And only just because it's the Christmas special. It's like the one.
The
Christmas
one,
special.
yeah.
And I only started to get an appreciation for it when I was in college and I was in it every year.
Oh, nice.
Every year our college performed A Christmas Carol, and I had a friend in college who was a year older than me, who graduated 2 years before the year that I started, but had been playing Scrooge for 4 years. And the guy who ran the production, who actually his wife co-wrote co-adapted it into a stage play, they ran it with an iron fist, and they were like, no, this kid who is now an adult, he played the best Scrooge, and so he will play Scrooge until he chooses not to anymore.
Wow.
So he was Scrooge for about 8 years, and we're like,
wow.
We're like, dude, and being friends of his, we're like, hey, Matt, you gotta stop being Scrooge, man. You gotta give it to somebody else.
It's getting weird, man. You're like one of those Doctor Who's who never wanted to give it up. It's like, okay, give someone else a turn.
Exactly. Okay, man. Your enthusiasm is appreciated, but we need to start getting
But
some
it's
new
getting a
blood
little
into this
weird
thing.
and creepy now.
Exactly. They hired a guy. Not hired. They cast a kid to play Marley my freshman year, and they were so disappointed with his performance that they were just. Then when he auditioned again, they gave him another part just so they could not tell him that he was awful as Marley. And then they were like, would you, and then they had me audition, and they were like, we'd like you to play Marley. Back then I was about 100 pounds lighter, and I was much more like gaunt and gangly. And so they were like, do you want to play Marley? And I'm like, I don't know, what's Marley again? And they're like, he's the guy who only says he says a crap load of things and then leaves for the rest of the play. And I'm like,
never seen again.
I'm like, bingo. Just drops the mic and leaves. I'm in.
That's basically the whole thing. Is like, hey, your ass is getting haunted tonight, Scrooge, my man.
That's right. So I played up Marley, and back then it was Lord of the Rings was prominent, so I played him kind of Christopher Lee-like with a very deep voice. I played Saruman. It was Saruman as Marley, which my director.
These are the chains I forged in life.
Link by link and yard by yard.
Such an amazing line and such a great visual that we forge chains in life and they drag us down when we die.
Yeah. It's funny for me, I've never seen a Marley that I actually really like, which is ironic because I loved playing him and he's a really juicy part, but it's just, I've never seen a part where I'm like, this guy rocks. The only one that I've actually enjoyed, and it was only because it's more entertaining, is Waldorf and Statler as Marley and Marley from the Muppet Christmas Carol.
That's right, because they play so many different amazing versions. I'm going to say right now, my favorite version was a 1990 TV's version with Patrick Stewart as Scrooge.
Yes, the Patrick Stewart version is in my top 2. There's 2 versions that I hold to be definitive Scrooge, like a Christmas Carol. Not like interpretations like Scrooged, but actual A Christmas Carol. If you're going to sit down and go like, we're going to get our Dickens on, boom, these two are the ones to watch. The TV Patrick Stewart one and the is it George C. Scott?
George C. Scott, yeah.
The George C. Scott one from 1984.
That's another really amazing one.
2 totally different versions of Scrooge, 2 totally different transformations, both incredibly haunting and believable and just incredible. I just watched the George C. Scott one with Tiffany the other day.
Such a classic.
It's one of my favorites. I just love it because not only is it haunting and beautiful and well crafted, but the acting, the people in it. You have David Warner, Ray Shell himself as Bob Cratchit.
I know.
The lowly. He's like, oh, I'm very happy this day. I'm like,
detective.
Yeah, duh. But he's amazing and he's believable and he's sad and you're just like, oh, everyone's so great in that movie. Alfred from the original Batman movies is in it. He plays one of the charity organizers. The sheriff of Rottingham plays Scrooge's nephew.
Real embarrassment of just great British talent in that.
It's true, it's true. And the fact is, I don't know anybody, I think, in that Patrick Stewart one, but it doesn't matter because Stewart steals the show.
Yes, he does. It is a one-man show. He is a powerhouse of a performer. That one also takes some interesting liberties with the story, and that one actually starts with Scrooge going to Marley's funeral.
Yes.
That's like the first 5 minutes, and he's like, you know what? I promise I won't end up like you. Flash forward 5 years. Crap.
Crap, I'm worse. That
one has one of my favorite versions of death too in that one, the final ghost.
Oh yes, I liked both those ghosts. Like in the George C. Scott one, the sound of death is just like a chair scraping against the ground.
Yeah.
There's this
there's so much room to play around and have fun in that. I know there's like a million animated versions where, like none of the ghosts ever look the same.
Yep.
Where, it's like sometimes, Christmas past is a boy, sometimes it's a woman, sometimes it's an angel.
Yeah.
And then, you got Present, who's always like a big, fat, portly, like Santa looking dude.
Yep.
Except for in one I remember, there was an animated one with Tim Curry as Scrooge. And he's doing amazing, but the rest of the special totally sucks. A, because it's cheap, and B, because they shove a bunch of musical numbers down your throat for no reason. But in that version, the Ghost of Christmas Present is, I shit you not, played by Whoopi Goldberg.
She could do it. I think she could nail that. That sounds about right.
It's the spice of life, is what I have.
That's funny. I did not know that.
Present is always my favorite ghost because he starts off all happy and cool, but then as time runs down, because the present always is running down, he gets old and sick and decrepit and basically turns into dust.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love the idea that he's dying as the day goes on because he's the present. The present will eventually die at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
and then the version that the bit that some versions cut out and some people keep. It's the one where, Present lifts up his robes and, it's the two sickly children of want and ignorance.
That I'm not a huge fan of. It was in my version, like in the play I was in, and it's in the George C. Scott. I think it's in both versions, the Patrick Stewart one and the George C. Scott one.
Which is probably why I really like those two. 'Cause I don't know why that's always the first bit to get cut, but that's always the first bit.
Because it's really weird and esoteric, because it's not quite the message. Like, the message is about Scrooge, and it's about, don't be a dick. But then there's this general message that Present wants to, Present has an agenda that he also wants to kind of advance.
Yes,
well,
he
as long
does.
as I'm affecting this really rich guy, I might as well also tell him about want and ignorance and how they will eventually be the downfall of all of mankind.
because that's what Dickens was trying to, that was Dickens' own agenda going into that. Like, I think, and again, a lot of the original interpretation is lost in time and
Oh yeah.
commercialization, but I think what he was originally screeding against was like Sabbatarianism was like the thing he really didn't like, and that's what
Yeah.
he was going on about.
Well, there was definitely he was definitely attacking class, and he was absolutely trying to get like a socio-economic message across, like through Scrooge, because there's more than a few tenement scenes in that play. That
Oh yes.
and of course the money changing people at the end. The you were born to make your fortune, Marty, and you'll certainly do it with these bed curtains. You pull down rings and all with him a lying there. Like you got that
Great
whole.
bit.
Those characters were
Do,
amazing.
do we not have workhouses? Do we not have prisons?
Yeah.
Which man, with Trump running for president right now, I could imagine him saying all those things.
Yeah, maybe he'll get visited by three spirits at the end of this season, hopefully.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Trump stops his campaign. Look, I'm sorry, I have to stop the campaign. I was visited by three ghosts in the night. They made really good pitches, so everybody in America gets a Christmas goose.
Exactly. That'd be amazing.
Man, Saturday Night Live is going to have an amazing episode this coming Christmas because they got Tina Fey and Amy Poehler back. They need to do that sketch.
Yes, they do. That'd be amazing. That's one for free, SNL. You can have that.
But Lauren Michaels, if you're watching, and we know you are, you can have that one.
Yeah, that's from the Elseworlds Exchange.
From the Elseworlds.
You're welcome.
We'll get little credits at the end of it there. It's like sketch idea by, Joel and Sal.
All right, so there's A Christmas Carol, which is like the definitive. That's like the number one. If you don't watch anything, watch A Christmas Carol, and I don't mean just the title. I mean like any version. And
Everyone's done it, and because it's in the public domain, everyone can do it, and everyone can screw around with it. The Flintstones did an amazing one.
Yes, they did. That's one of Tiffany's favorites Christmas specials. Is the Flintstones Christmas.
Because that one works on 2 levels.
2 hours long, by the way.
It is. Like, that one works on 2 levels, because, like, Fred is playing Scrooge in a play, and the more into the part he gets, the more of a D-bag he is to the rest of his family, and then they actually work out their issues on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember at several points during that special, I go, shouldn't this be over? Like, haven't we reached terminal velocity with this play?
And then you get the stuff, like, you get the Mickey Mouse one.
Now that's a good one to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Please continue.
Oh, yeah. I was waiting for you, like, that's one to talk about. I'm like, for people who don't know, I can't actually see Sal's face.
Oh, right. Sorry about that.
I'm watching the stream, so I can kind of gauge
You're
his
a little
feelings.
bit behind, yeah.
Is the thing. But yeah, the Mickey Mouse one is cool because that one gets the entire story in like 22 minutes.
It's amazing how short that damn thing is. It feels like I remember it being much longer than it was, but it's not. I also want to see it again. I haven't seen it in a while because I think that's like the first time they brought in Scrooge McDuck into the Disney animated universe. I don't know if
into the main canon, the main Disney canon.
Yeah, I mean there were Scrooge comic books for a while, but like in the cartoon canon, I think that's where you get Scrooge McDuck. I also love Blue. Is it who's Goofy's nemesis? Is it Bluto?
Oh no, Pete.
Pete, thank you.
Voiced by the great
That's
Jim Cummings.
Popeye. But yeah, Pete being the Ghost of Christmas Future and having a cigar.
That's great, where he lights it off
smoke.
the tombstone.
Ugh, it's amazing.
Back when you could do that in cartoons.
I remember thinking that the animation was particularly good. I wonder if that's still true.
I think it holds up. Most old Disney stuff holds up.
Yeah. Now, of course, we could talk about the Muppet Christmas Carol. I think it's a little overrated, but I think it's a good show. It's Brian Henson's first directorial movie. It's the first Muppet movie made after Jim died.
Yep.
So I'm sure there's a lot of like deep, feelings in that one that they really need to work through. A lot of stuff tied up in that one. Everyone kind of cites Michael Caine as their favorite Scrooger as a result. I feel like he's kind of phoning it in.
He's not Michael Caine playing Scrooge. He's just Michael Caine being Scrooge.
He's Michael Caine surrounded by puppets. I think that's as comfortable as he can get when he's surrounded by puppets.
It's just, I'm Michael Caine. Yeah. Just Kermit the Frog all around the plate and stuff. Kippers,
exactly.
Kippers and onions, whatever.
They really also they really truncated the hell out of that one too. They like cut all this stuff, and I think they made Fred and Bob have the same visit on the same day. Like he goes to Fred's and then he goes to Bob's or something like that. I don't know. It's really short.
Yeah, they do truncate it to put in more Muppet gags. Now, one I never saw because it got such bad reviews when it came up, but that Zemeckis Jim Carrey one where it's ultra dry literalism, where they're literally just reading it off the original
Now
page.
that I did not watch because it looked horrible. Which is funny because, like, I mean, obviously it's Bob Zemeckis. The dude knows how to make a great fucking movie. He's made two of my favorites, Roger Rabbit and Back to the Future. I
Yep.
can't fucking fault the guy. That said, I don't have any interest in watching that. Also, isn't Jim Carrey playing everybody?
They're doing a Polar Express thing because in the Polar Express, Tom Hanks played everybody, and now in this, Jim Carrey's playing everybody.
Now, I also want to mention the Polar Express because there's a lot of contention, at least in my generation, about it. I know a couple.
I
people
saw
that
it for
know.
the first time this week.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Yes, I saw it for the first time ever.
Wow. What'd you think?
Okay, here's the thing. So a bunch of people had built it up before I seen it. It's like, oh, it's so great and so beautiful. And Tom Hanks, one of the greatest actors of our generation, he plays all these roles so seamlessly.
Yeah.
When I actually watched it, the thing that stuck out to me super hard right away is that like the nerdy kid is
Mandark.
Is Mandark, and that just took me out of the whole movie. I'm like, why is Mandark here?
That is the only thing I think of whenever he's like, ha ha ha, ah, ha ha ha. I'm like, oh god, Mandark, shut up. Now he's supposed to be wretched and terrible, and you hate him, which I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but Jesus Christ, Mandark.
Tell me about it. The more that special went on, too, and maybe this is just my own weird reading of it years later, it felt a little Christian propaganda-y.
Really?
Actually. It did, where it's like, you know, you gotta believe. Only those who truly believe in the kingdom of Santa can hear the bells. Everyone else is just missing it. And the fact that they make the smart kid, who is constantly, you know, quoting facts and statistics.
The atheist character.
They make him into the bad one. Yeah. And the fact that he's on the train, because, you know, it's the train for people who don't believe, makes me think, I'm like, oh, is that why he's on the train? Because, you know, these kids did research and like, no, you kids should stop trying to read, just believe in Santa.
That's fucked up. Yeah. I don't read into it that much. I just kind of like it. I think it's just kind of sweet.
It's cute. The songs are,
songs are beautiful. Not the, I mean, like, you know, the cute
main
ones.
Theme.
Yeah, the main theme. It's really nice. It's very Christmassy. Feels like it just feels warm. I kind of dig it.
Hanks is good.
And I don't mind the weird humanoid animation. I know that it's very different from the book. The book, of course, has very much, you know, it's a book, so it's going to be very different. The art's very different. It's much more like
I didn't even know it was based on a book.
Oh yeah, it's based off of a children's storybook. It's
wow.
just, I mean, it's just big. It's one of those landscape books where you open it up and it's beautiful, you know. But yeah, I kind of dig the Polar Express. I like
it's fun. It's a beautiful movie. It's also one of those movies that I'm sure it would have blown my freaking mind if I saw it in theaters in 3D.
Oh, no doubt.
It's
especially
a ride.
As an animation buff, you would have been, you would have been a fan.
Like, it's a freaking ride is, you know, what that movie is.
Mm-hmm. So there are a couple of older ones that I always feel like I need to watch when I'm a kid, or that I grew up with as a kid that I always watch now. One of them, and I'm kind of sad that I'm bringing it up this early, but what the hell, is the Garfield Christmas special.
Oh, yes,
that's right. Might be my favorite Christmas special of all time.
It's pretty underrated. I don't think not near enough people have seen that one, but that one gets some good stuff done.
It does some amazing stuff. It, of course, gets Lorenzo Music's Garfield involved, which is, like, you can't argue with that. You get to see John Arbuckle's family, which you never get to see.
Which is really cool. That was mind-blowing the first time I saw it. It's like, dude, this guy has a family?
Yeah, and they lived on a farm. Like, John is the successful one.
Mm-hmm. Sad Sack John is the successful one of
envy
this
of his family. His grandmother being a widower and, you know, lonely, but also, like, progressive and cool. I always loved that message. There's also a lot of great music in that one.
Oh, wonderful. Some of the best they ever did for that.
Oh, man, easily. The opening one, the Gimme 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 song. There's also, of course, just like the saccharine cute ones. It's just a solid fucking special. It used to be free on YouTube. Somebody at Jim Davis heard about it, and now you can watch it on YouTube for $8. Thankfully, I have my fucking VHS tape, which has all my commercials in it, so I could just throw that on from like 1986 and just watch that. But Love that special. It's just something about it. It's you know what it is. I think because the religious overtones are completely absent. It's just
Yeah.
about family togetherness and overeating, which I think are three things that are my favorite things in the world. So yeah, it highlights everything I like about Christmas. It's going someplace to be with your family. It's it also highlights the whole family dynamic of like, listen, not
Oh
everybody
yeah.
agrees with each other, not everybody gets along, but at the end of the day, they're family and they love each other. Like that's really
Which you're
cool.
going to have at every Christmas dinner when you argue with your conservative uncle and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm telling a little too much from my own
I was
life
gonna
right
say, or in my case, you're conservative. Everyone.
and you're the
Mhm.
weirdo.
They because there's so few, like people who don't subscribe, who don't think that Donald Trump is a serious candidate for president. Like I am not looked at as like a weirdo. I'm more looked at as kind of adorable. They're like, look at him go. Oh, you really think that the
I, I did have one nice moment a couple Christmases back when I was reading a Jeff Johns Green Lantern comic,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Hey, Uncle blank name here. This guy's the conservative mouthpiece of the comic book universe, but he's best friends with Green Arrow, who's the liberal mouthpiece
Yeah, exactly.
of the DC universe. Isn't that nice?" And oh, look, here he is, quoting what is it that dude who was tortured in Vietnam, that guy who ran for president for a little bit.
Oh.
Palin's running mate, but now we only remember Palin because she was so.
Oh, you talking about John McCain?
John McCain, yeah, friggin' Jeff Johns quotes John McCain in an old Green Lantern story.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, when Green Lantern's being tortured, he's like, but John McCain told me once.
Weird. Okay.
That's a real thing that happened in the early days of Green Lantern
That
of
is
Jeff Johns'
crazy.
run.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, John McCain. But anyway, Christmas. There's another one that I really dig. It's the California Raisins Christmas special.
I've only ever heard of that. I've never actually seen that one.
All the sketches are available on YouTube. It's not available all in one stream, but like you could catch it all. I think it's just called a Claymation Christmas. I love it, but only because of how weird Claymation's a weird animal.
It is, and no one really does it anymore.
They certainly don't, and I'm glad because I think it only really exists in this bubble of time when it was socially acceptable to exist. Because now you look at it and you're just like, this is really uncomfortable. Like, it's not real, but it's also not quite animation. And the people who decided to make claymation shows were also not. It was like it's like a Don Bluth movie.
Yeah.
It's not. You think it's Disney, then you watch it,
But
and you're
it's
like,
not, though.
that guy was eaten by crows, and like so. You with
I know
claymation,
exactly what movie you're quoting when you say "eaten by crows."
That's
dude.
right.
They're back, a dinosaur story.
Dinosaur story. What the crab, Don Bluth. But
What
yeah,
a weird movie with a couple really amazing sequences in it.
yeah, I know. But yeah, like I like it. It's basically that's what a Christmas special is. It is a series of sketches by notable characters, interspliced with hosts who are presenting the show. The hosts are two anthropomorphic dinosaurs, one of whom is playing like Mr. Howell from Gilligan's Island. He's a upper crusty dinosaur, and the other one's a Stegosaurus who is dumb. And it's weird. It's like, why did you do this? But in the 80s, and then like the 80s were just like, yeah, that's
Put it on
that's
TV.
what we're watching. But great music, great songs. Obviously it infused a little bit of like R&B and like jazz music into Christmas. It also has like a great Carol of the Bells sequence that is humor in it.
Okay, I have actually seen that Carol of the Bells bit. Actually, I haven't seen anything else.
Where
But
they're
I've
all
seen
real
that
bells and they bang on each other. Yeah.
Yes, I've seen that bit.
Yeah, it's hilarious in
It
that
is good.
humor takes place during it, but it's weird. The old interspersed sketches for the dinosaurs is that other characters show up singing "Here We Come" a wassailing, but they always say a word instead of wassail, like waffle. And
I could go for some waffles.
yeah, and that's the joke. But yeah, what other like topper Christmas specials for you are there that exist in the pop culture
Oh,
zeitgeist?
for sure. Well, it's funny you mentioned claymation there, and did you ever see Box Trolls? Box Trolls came
The
out like
movie I did
this.
not see Box Trolls.
Box Trolls is amazing. Just if people want something that's really cool in claymation, that's Leica, the same people who did like Paranorman and
Oh, okay.
Coraline and a bunch of other
It looks
stuff.
exactly like those, so I was like, yeah, okay, no.
Here's the thing: it's actually a really smart movie about classism.
Oh, cool. That's
Box
it looked
Trolls is
like
all
that.
about classism.
Yeah, interesting.
But yes, back on the Christmas thing. You mentioned the religious overtones there, and I like that because Christmas specials really do come in two varieties:
Yeah,
the Santa centric or the Jesus centric.
exactly.
One that you might not think to be Jesus centric, but is actually kind of cool. It's and again, it pertains to superheroes, so I know our audience will really like it. It was X-Men Evolution on Angel's Wings. It was the first
Oh.
episode they did with Angel. Did you ever see that?
I did not. I did. I saw the Christmas special from the original X-Men animated series.
Have yourself a Morlock little
Have
Christmas.
yourself a More Like Christmas, which has no religious overtones.
No, not all. Let's go to the sewer and
Yeah.
help out
I'd
Lobster
give,
Boy.
I'd give clothes to the Morlocks.
Where Storm literally looks directly into the camera and guilt trips people at Christmas time.
Yep.
It's like we would her exact line is we would all do wise to remember that.
Like, thanks, Storm. Jeez. But what happens in the Angel one?
Okay, so on Angel's Wings, it was the first and only time in that show that we ever actually saw Warren Worthington.
Interesting.
And he's like living a privileged rich guy life but at Christmas time he decides to finally let himself be known as a mutant to go out there, put on a costume and try and save people. And it's also kind of a reference to like the original like Avenging Angel books that Marvel put out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a twofer. But here's the thing, because he's flying around as an angel on Christmas saving people from house fires and muggings and everything, everyone in New York starts to think he's a real actual biblical angel.
Right. That's cool. That's a neat idea.
That is a neat idea. And Xavier and because the X-Men have a skeleton crew because everyone else went home for Christmas.
Yes. Which is
So
that
it's
they've done that.
so it's just Xavier and Beast who are hanging out at the mansion with Cyclops and Rogue because those two don't have any families to go home to.
Right.
So Xavier's like, "Hey, tell you what, kids, Cerebro is getting updated. Got to get the newest updates for Cerebro. So how about you kids actually go out into the street and talk to people and try and hunt down this angel guy?"
Okay.
And and there's like a bit of sexual tension they play up between Cyclops and Rogue because that's what they kind of had going
Yeah, I
for
remember
the
that
show.
being a thing.
Yeah, they had like a love triangle between her, them, and Jean, and whatever. And it's just kind of this moment where they talk about faith and everything. And Beast reads a classic thing from the Bible saying, entertain ye all visitors because some may have entertained angels unaware.
Okay.
And say, maybe what we think of as mutants could maybe be something more. And obviously, you need a villain for the piece. So Magneto goes around and tries to ruin Warren's life in hopes that if he messes him up so bad, he'll want to come join the Brotherhood.
Of course.
Solid planning.
Yeah, good job. Magnus.
Solid planning there with that. But yeah, I mean, they beat the bad guy and everything. What's cool about it is that it was written by Boyd Kirkland, who did a number of the X-Men Evolution bits.
Mm-hmm.
I only found this out later when I looked into him, but apparently he was a very devout member of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saint.
Ah.
But he had actually battled with his church quite a bit. He was kind of like a black sheep of his church and everything. And I feel like this episode on a meta level was kind of him working out his own religious stuff.
That's cool.
Through the lens of X-Men and through the lens of a comic. And again, it's another beautiful looking episode. The snow looks great. The music that they only used for this one episode is great. It's a really fun one.
That's cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm. And you can see all of X-Men Evolution on YouTube for free.
Really?
Yeah, on the official Marvel channel. They've actually uploaded all of them, so you can actually go watch On Angel's Wings tonight if you want.
That's really cool. I might just do that.
It's a fun episode.
There's so many amazing specials, and I liked the reason why I brought up our Christmas specials that we made ourselves, and this whole episode itself is because I've always fascinated with the Christmas special, the idea of taking a break from your regular scheduled continuity or using continuity to
further
something with this big epic otherworldly special, usually hammering home some kind of point. Or
Doctor Who is famous for that.
Doctor Who is the famous thing. Yeah, that's like the main pop culture nerddom example is like the Doctor Who Christmas special, and how it's
which are always like mini movies.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I think that's really cool that they do that, and I think it's really neat that they keep that tradition alive. But I always like to see what people do with the format, where they're like, if we have to do I think we have to do a special. And,
because not everybody does it. Only sometimes they do it.
Yeah.
Not everyone is like Simpsons and South Park, where it's like a yearly thing most of the time.
It's true.
South Park, ironically, didn't do one this season.
No, they did not. No, they were busy this season, as I noticed. But yeah, I was thinking about specifically the He-Man She-Ra Christmas.
I've seen it. We riffed that one a couple years back, actually.
That is something else. And
by God, it is.
Oh my God, that's again like another like hour and a half long special that really hammers home like what a toolbox Skeletor is, and how much more effective Hordak is, and how
Hordak totally kicks his ass, and we see their boss, Horde Prime.
Yeah.
Who's just a big cloud of evil in a ship.
It's just hilarious. Just that the amount of effort that went into that, and how they just and the children in the special, and Skeletor making, no, I don't feel good, I feel evil. Nah. Like, what the heck?
Nah, I will give you coats with my powers.
Oh
nah, Beast Man.
Just amazing. I love seeing it everywhere. I like that there are so many like references to it in our pop culture. I saw when I was working as a teacher last year, two people wore Christmas sweaters with He-Man and She-Ra on them.
No.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, what'd you think of it? And they were like, oh, I didn't watch it. And I'm like, oh, of course. And I'm thinking about like other Christmas specials people like to reference, but clearly they didn't watch it because there would be a visible scar, and I know that you have experienced this as well. It's like going to Nam together, the Star Wars holiday special.
Yes, we ripped that over on my channel this year. In fact, it's up now if you check my Twitter feed. You're right, it's like going to Nam. You are brothers with those people forever once you've sat through it. If you've watched
the Star Wars holiday special all the way through, you're part of a very tortured brotherhood of people who have aged a few years longer because it really is like, it's like going through a time vortex where you're just like,
70s, man.
Can
Late
this
70s.
be over? And it's not even. And what's amazing is it kept all those commercials, and the commercials are for like unions, and it's just, you're like, wow, commercials from the 70s were weird.
And like old 70s like medication, like Anacin.
Yeah, exactly.
And like Ford Motor Company when they're doing good, where it's like, yeah, Ford helps America. America in cars. This will never ever change.
That's right. But that special, as a kid, growing up before YouTube and everything, the only way to watch it was to go to a Comic-Con and getting a copy from like a dark alley somewhere. And a friend of mine had
only ever
his
kept
copy.
Alive through piracy and tape trading.
Yeah. And a friend of mine had a copy, and I remember hearing references to it, and reading Wizard magazine, they always referenced it. They had a special where they showed you rejected toy ideas from the Star Wars holiday special. They actually made like Mala and Lumpy and Itchy and
Art Carney.
Yeah, and Art Carney's character and Harvey Korman's alien. And I'm like, this is phenomenal. This is an amazing phenomenon. And so one day my friend was like, I have it. We could watch it, but I warn you, it's like it's like the Ring tape. Like, but if you watch it, you'll never be the same.
It's like it has the Dante's Inferno thing written on the tape. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here.
It's really true. Like it's so you watch it, and it is legitimately unwatchable.
It's a special level of hell. Is like you really have to ask, what was anyone involved thinking? And the answer is they weren't thinking. It opens with a bunch of stolen footage from A New Hope, which was the only movie that existed at the time.
Right. They didn't even have other movies to sample from.
Han has Chewie, and they're like, don't you worry, buddy, I'll get you home for Wookiee Life Day, which is the non-denominational Star Wars Christmas stand-in.
Yep. And
even though the special technically aired at Thanksgiving time, actually, but in America, your Thanksgiving and your Christmas, it's a big thing.
Well, actually, the way we look at it, the way I look at it at least, is Thanksgiving comes and you watch the Macy's Day Parade, and at the end of the parade, Santa arrives to herald the holiday season.
He comes in like the Herald of Galactus.
Exactly. He goes up, and he's just like, a warning to all: Christmas is here. If you've been celebrating for this, I will find you. I will send the Krampus to come come and take you away. But now it's okay to celebrate because and prepare yourself for a milieu of ABC Family Lifetime specials.
Prepare to hear Christmas songs in the mall and wherever you walk now.
Yeah. But damn, man, that holiday special is
90% of it is like Wookiees
Yes.
without subtitles,
You
without
open
anything.
it for 20 minutes. The Wookiees have conversations with no subtitles. You have
This will never get old, they said as they
No.
filmed this.
and it's the oldest. It anyway.
And then because we're not even done yet. We haven't even scratched the
then
surface
there's
on this.
there's so much more. There's the cartoons, which are better, but still terrible.
The cartoon, which I kind of feel I need to take credit for, because that stuff was made by Nelvana, a very famous Canadian animation house.
All right.
That cartoon is also the first canon appearance of Boba Fett. He rides a dinosaur and he speaks with an Australian accent.
Yeah, he's cool. He's very cool in that special, and that's the thing. That's the only reason why we even know it exists is because throughout history, whenever they talked about Boba Fett, they're like, well, technically his first appearance is in the Star Wars Holiday Special. So I'm like, okay, nothing that has Boba Fett in it could not be cool. So eventually we watched it, and damn,
Carrie Fisher sings in it, and there's also, because this is the 70s, it's a variety show, there's a whole musical number from Jefferson Starship.
Yep, because they have Starship in the title, you see.
So it's great because the lead singer of Jefferson Starship is singing into what I guess was supposed to be a lightsaber. But it ends up just looking like a giant glowing dildo, so he's just singing into it, just getting right on into it.
Yeah. Also, Carrie Fisher is on all the cocaine.
Yes, at this time, most certainly.
And there's a scene, there's a wide shot where she has to enter the scene, and you can see the stagehands push her onto the stage because she's so zonked. And damn.
Poor Mark Hamill. They have maked up to the gills because this was not long after his very tragic motorcycle accident.
It was like right after the accident and before they even filmed Empire. So it's like, oh, yeah.
He looks like a Ken doll because they've caked on so much makeup to cover the scar tissue. And God, Harrison Ford, man, you can like actually pinpoint the second he stopped caring about acting.
It's funny,
in that.
Harrison Ford acted in that special like he has for the last 10 years.
Yes, he has.
Where he's just, I don't care, whatever. Meh. Like, after the special, he did other things that people really enjoy. Mosquito Coast, Regarding Henry, Working Girl. Like, he was in movies people enjoy, and he worked really hard. But, there was a certain point in Harrison Ford's career where he went, fuck it. And he really channels that older Harrison Ford in those moments where he's
this was him phoning it in. What's even better is that in that entire special, not one person fires a single blaster bolt in that entire thing. There's a moment where you think it's gonna happen, and then like a stormtrooper just falls over some rails.
That's right. Yeah, he falls over some rails through the Ralph McQuarrie Kashyyyk painting.
Which I don't think they paid Ralph McQuarrie for that. I think they stole that from his work desk and didn't
that's
pay him.
Exactly what that is. I know that because I've seen it in Ralph McQuarrie books. Like that's the picture that they use, and they just threw it in. Like, fuck it, just put it in.
We get that it has like weird Wookiee sex chairs, and B. Arthur has a song number, and B. Arthur's song number at the canteen is probably the closest thing to actually sort of being Star Wars. Everything else has nothing to do with Star Wars.
No. But the cantina scene actually was filmed or directed by like the first unit director of A New Hope. So that's why it looks like Star Wars, because he was actually there making it. So he's like, okay, I know how to. And apparently that sequence cost way too much, and the TV people were like, you're fired. We just want to do the bullshit that makes us money. And which is hilarious because it didn't make a dime because it's
only
useless.
Ever aired once.
Yep. And the quote by George Lucas, I believe, is attributed to is, "If I had the time and the resources, I would smash every copy with a hammer."
Yes, which is amazing to think the man who signed off on the prequels, this was too much for him. Yes. This was too far.
You'd also think that maybe he'd have an air of quality control after that experience, but apparently, the mind gets foggy after 30 years. But yeah, holy
it
damn.
Happens.
The holiday special, if you want to have a Merry Christmas, don't watch the Star Wars Holiday Special. Trust me.
Watch our riff of it that we did that you can find on my Twitter.
I'm not in it, but trust me, it's way better. Also, Riff Tracks does one.
Oh, it's
And
amazing. I've
honestly,
watched that one.
I didn't watch it because it would mean I'd have to watch the special.
The best part about the Riff Tracks one is they actually riff the commercials.
Good. That's even better. That's like when the MST3K guys do, like those pre-movie movies, those shorts, like A Case of Spring Fever or, Gold Bond Medicated Powder, that kind of thing. It's really great. But, all right, so there's Christmas movies that I'd like to talk about, if you don't mind.
Yes. Oh, God, absolutely.
Now, not necessarily ones that you'd think are Christmas movies, but these are more like, in the spirit of the holidays, what are some official, unofficial Christmas movies? Things like Die Hard.
I knew Die Hard was coming.
Now, Die Hard had to come up because it's everybody's favorite Christmas movie.
That's become really popular in the last little bit. That's
This
become
is
the
true.
popular smart-ass answer when it's like, oh, what's your favorite Christmas movie? Oh, Die Hard,
Oh,
of
Die
course.
Hard. Now, I saw somebody made a meme of Hans Gruber falling, and it says, "It ain't Christmas till Hans falls off Nagatomi Tower." And I'm like,
I saw that,
I
too.
appreciate that. I agree with you. But for me, like an official Christmas movie is Gremlins.
Oh, yeah, Gremlins. With that dark-ass story revolving around Santa.
Yeah. Oh my God, Phoebe Cates, man, she was like, that was her Oscar pitch. Like, she's like, let's see if this works. Oh, and then I love that they made fun of it in Gremlins 2, where we imply that like she maybe got like sexually assaulted by a creep in a raincoat.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh no, it's weird. And they don't let her finish the story.
Not nearly as many horror-themed Christmas movies as you would think. I'm glad you mentioned Gremlins, because I know I was reading a lot of the reviews for that new movie, Krampus.
Yes.
And a lot of people say it hits a lot of the same notes as Gremlins does.
That's what I've heard, and that's why I want to see it.
Me too.
And when I saw a poster recently, and it reminded me of the old '80s horror posters, like like what's that one with the cloud and the horrible like scary face in it over the house? I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, Fright Night?
Fright Night. Yeah.
Okay. See, I know my shit. Joel knows
it
his
reminds
shit.
me of like like Nightmare Before Christmas, or Nightmare on Elm Street rather. Fright Night, it's evocative of that, and it even has one of those corny taglines, like he knows if you've been bad or good or something like that. Like it's solid.
We got to say that the Krampus really is something amazing that has taken place in Christmas pop culture thanks to the internet. This weird, obscure piece of Germanic Christmas lore.
Yes, a concept that I don't mind saying that a good like 5 or 6 years ago we incorporated into our Christmas special long before they started making Krampus stuff. I loved the idea of the Krampus character even before we did. By the way, Venture Brothers used the Krampus in one of my favorite portrayals of the character ever,
as just some weird German
Christmas
sex
special.
freak.
Yeah, well, he has, because the idea here is, if you're not familiar, if you really want to know the actual myth of the Krampus is simply he's a goat demon character who comes out and he works for Santa, like he's legitimately like a Santa helper.
He's the anti-Santa.
He's the anti-Santa, and he goes and he takes wicked children, he puts them into his wicker basket, and then takes them away.
And beats them with birch rods occasionally.
Beats them with birch rods.
And rusty chains. That's his other thing.
Right, and rusty chains, which he carries. But the Venture Brothers Christmas special portrays him perfectly. Like, just the animation, the design, it's amazing. He even has children in a wicker basket on his back. It's a spectacular portrayal. Now,
Man, German fairy tales are hardcore, aren't they? German fairy tales don't mess around.
no, and they're kind of like, well, they're the progenitor of fairy tales. Those guys, they're like, let's tell a story to our children to scare the hell out of them so they'll shut up.
It's called Grimm for a reason, isn't it?
That's right.
My favorite German fairy tale. Once there was a little boy who liked to suck his thumb. So then his mother cut off his thumb. That is the end.
That is the story.
Good night.
Yeah. Now,
Guten night.
Guten night. Now that Krampus movie, I believe Weta designed the Krampus.
Yes, they did.
Which is awesome, and I can't wait to see it because I want to see that. Apparently, it's all puppets and dolls and animatronics and stuff like that. That's awesome.
All the cool stuff. And yes, Chad, American Dad did a Krampus episode. Venture Brothers did a Krampus episode.
And guess what? Everything you like will do a Krampus episode now.
It's true.
From now until everyone's sick of it.
Just to give a good push and pump to some guy. There's a guy out there, CR Chad Rocco. He did a little short history of the Krampus in animation, and he ran down a bunch of different stuff. So hey, go check him out if you like. He does good stuff.
It's funny we mentioned American Dad. Just taking a quick segue from Christmas movies. American Dad's Christmas specials are some of the best Christmas specials I've seen
Yes,
in a
they
cartoon
are.
show, bar none.
And
It's
they're
just,
some of the most expected because you didn't expect them to go the places that they did.
that's it.
And
You don't expect it to go in that direction, and it's so clever and amazing and funny and bizarre. Those were my source of inspiration. I was like, if I'm doing something like that, I'm doing something right.
and to be, and to borrow a comic book term, I think they did the smartest thing with their Christmas episodes. It's kind of what The Simpsons do with their Halloween shows and being like, no, these are all out of canon, so we can do whatever we want.
Yes. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Like God, they've done so many great ones in a row. There's the one where Jesus comes back, and you're like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no, wait, no, Jesus is back, and it means like the friggin' apocalypse is coming,
Right.
and his wife starts dating Jesus or General Jesus, and he becomes a road warrior in the future.
That's the one I went, what the hell is happening?
All in a Christmas episode.
All in a Christmas episode. I'm like, this is amazing. Like,
And then there's the one where like he dies, but he doesn't get into heaven because he's being a dick on Christmas, so he has to try and like fight his case to get in there.
Yep.
Or oh god, what was the other good one? Or where he goes back in time in the classic, like you're thinking it's
Yes.
going to be A Christmas Carol, and like Phoebe from Friends takes him back in time.
Yep.
And he's like, no, I'm gonna go stop friggin' what is it?
Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda, the Clute actress. I'm gonna stop her from ruining Christmas by making her thing on Vietnam that she
That's
did.
one of my favorite things. And you know whose fault this is, don't you? Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda. That's right.
I love that Donald Sutherland is there too. Nice little Canadian connection.
Yeah.
Donald Sutherland is trying to bang Jane Fonda at that time.
That moment at the end where he's yelling at Reagan. He goes, Reagan, Mr. President, Merry Christmas!
That's right, because they have to remake Taxi Driver because he got Martin Scorsese off coke in the 80s, so he never made Taxi Driver.
Like, they're just like, I don't want to do a Christmas special. I want to do something really weird, but we'll couch it in a Christmas idea. That's the thing. Like, that's
then
the
they
formula.
fight Santa with a moonshine redneck, and they have a heavy metal cover of Carol of the Bells. How amazing is that?
Or when they kill Santa, and then Santa comes back, and
that's the same episode.
Hunts them down. Yeah, amazing stuff. So, all right, what are some of your favorite Christmas movies that either might not be considered Christmas movies, or at least or are definitive? Since we talked about A Christmas Carol.
Well, actually, I'm going to talk about something new here, and this is something that I've talked about on my own channel for a bit, and that is most of the Christmas specials we're talking about are all older.
Yes.
And it's very rare, very, very rare that a new Christmas movie or a new Christmas special will catch the pop culture zeitgeist and will be like, oh, this is required viewing. There's a reason people watch Frosty every year, watch Rudolph and the Grinch every year, and will continue.
I will say, by the way, I watched Frosty the other day. It does not hold up.
It's a little weird.
It's pretty weak. Now, Chuck Jones's The Grinch is timeless.
Always great. Friggin'
I think trumps the Jim Carrey one by a country.
Oh
fire.
god, yeah. And it's shorter too. They get the whole story done.
Yeah, they get it all done, and it's also just brilliant and wonderful. Boris Karloff does the voiceover. It's just spectacular.
Perfect.
And of course it's Chuck Jones. It looks like a fucking great Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Yes, the best Looney Tunes animation, but for the Grinch.
Exactly. So anyway.
Even those gags with the dog who doesn't talk are pure
Max,
straight up Looney
it's
Tunes.
Amazing. Yeah. Spectacular.
But Boris Karloff is king. I know last year a bunch of like former Family Guy and former Simpsons writers put a lot of time and money together on a new special starring George Costanza's dad, Jerry Stiller.
Jerry Stiller, yeah.
Jerry Stiller called How Murray Saved Christmas. And it's not good, and I think it's a perfect example of like, oh, this is why you don't put the time and money to make a new Christmas special, because 9 times out of 10 they are huge failures. And it came out last year.
Yeah.
And this year I'm looking through like the $5 bin, and they're all there in the $5 bin next to all the other failed Christmas specials that failed to launch.
Right. You mean like Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas?
I want to see that. I hear that's amazing. Kirk Cameron Saves Christmas.
That's gotta be a riff right there.
That's got to be just his. I think Elseworld Exchange. Are we going to have to do that? Are we going to have to talk about
I think we are going to have to do that. Because Joel, by the way, has pitched me the idea of us doing like an MST3K kind of show. I think that's not a bad idea.
We should. For those who don't know, Kirk Cameron, was a famous TV actor who has since gone.
30 years ago, he was a very famous TV actor.
And since then, he has gone gonzo for Jesus. and his Christmas movie was all about, it's like, man, I'm not going to let liberals and atheists ruin Christmas anymore. So he made this weird, cheap movie, I assume just with all of his friends.
Right, only the people who would agree with him. Yeah.
To be in this movie. And it's just kind of him sitting in a car and trying to get like the atheist straw man of the piece to believe in Santa.
Yep.
And the holidays. And it's like the most pro-consumerism Christmas movie ever.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it's pro-Jesus and pro-consumerism at the same time. And there's like, you know, mouth sex with hot chocolate. Like they're just getting right into it.
Oh, great.
I'm getting off point. I was trying to talk about a good one, but you hijacked.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I have to talk about
a good one. A good one.
A good one. It's fairly new. It's from Aardman Animation, the guys who you'll remember from Chicken Run and what is it, Wallace and Gromit movies. They made a movie a couple years back called Arthur Christmas with like James McAvoy and Jim Broadbent. It's really good. It is I'm sure it's a pitch you've heard before. It's about, you know, the children of Santa.
Okay.
It's about his son Arthur, who is a complete and total screw up, so much to the point that his dad makes him work in the mail room reading kids' letters.
I think I've heard yes, I have heard this premise before.
And what is it? His other overachieving brother is Dr. House, frickin'
yes.
That guy. Yeah. You know, that guy.
Hugh Laurie?
Hugh Laurie, thank you, is his overachieving brother, and he's next in line for the Santa hat. You know, he's going to achieve it.
Okay.
And this movie and its iconography is really interesting because, like, you see Santa's past in, like, this great wall, and they seem to imply that Santa was, like, a progenitor of, like, some weird British, like, Royal Air Force order because, like, you see them, like, in military regalia, and instead of a sleigh, this new slick Santa has, like, an airship, like a Final Fantasy airship with a cloak device. And Santa's so old and fat now, he doesn't even do it anymore. The elves go in like freaking Black Ops ninjas and deliver gifts.
That's cool.
And he gets to take all the credit and everything. And when they miss a kid on Christmas Eve, Arthur the Screw-Up takes it upon himself to go out and deliver the gift single-handedly himself. Just, you know, so Christmas won't be ruined for this one kid.
Yeah.
It's really great, but more than that, it has something that few animated movies, let alone few Christmas specials, can have. And that is a thing called moral complexity. It is one of the most morally complex Christmas stories I've ever seen, because it would be very easy to paint the Big Brother character as the villain of the piece.
Oh, yeah.
He's really not, though. In fact, as they show you several times throughout the movie, he really should have the job. He really should be Santa. And the other Santa really should retire by now, but he won't because his pride is too much in the way.
Okay, cool.
And it's like all these different stories converging. And then you have Bill Nighy.
Oh, cool.
Playing the Grand Santa, playing this old, almost dementia-ridden Santa. It's like, yeah, we're going to get the old sleigh out of stock, and we're going to go deliver this gift, and I've been keeping the reindeer secret from your brother and your father all this time, and we're going to go.
Oh, my God.
And we're going to do it, and it's like, whoa, this is amazing. And it's really almost kind of like this portrait of this dysfunctional Santa family.
That's amazing.
And like the old man, the Bill Nighy character's like, no, I'm only doing this to show up your brother and father that they shouldn't have retired me so early. And I'm like, whoa, dude.
And it's like echoing the fact that he really probably should be retiring the other one. Like,
absolutely, it's this family saga about Santas, and it's just a beautiful looking movie, and James McAvoy does a great job. He's really, you know, likable and everything. Cool. It's a cool movie. If you've never seen it, check out Arthur Christmas. It's one of the few movies that I think, yes, this is a new Christmas classic.
Nice. No, I've not watched it, so I'll have to check it out. I legitimately was just like, oh, it looks like one of those other things.
You think it would, and I went in thinking that too. Then I'm like, this looks saccharine and crappy. Then you watch, and it's like, oh no, wait, this has a lot going on under the hood, actually.
Right. That's really cool.
And I wouldn't even have watched it if I didn't know if it was Aardman, if I didn't know it was the Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run guys.
Right. Yeah, that's really cool.
It is cool. What else you got?
As far as Christmas movies go, let's see. Yeah. Well, of course, there's the Nightmare Before Christmas, which I've heard is, I mean, like, you know, I saw it in theaters and I've seen it maybe one or two times afterwards, but like, it's more of a Halloween movie.
Is it? See, I think it's more of a Christmas movie,
funny.
but then again,
yeah,
I think it gets played more at Christmas than it does Halloween.
Oh, it does, because there aren't really that many Halloween movies. Like, Halloween doesn't have like it's not like you get a Halloween gift. You know what I mean? There's no like there's no seminal Halloween, unless you talk about like horror movies, like the movie Halloween or scary movies. You know, those are great. Like watching Young Frankenstein on Halloween is a Rocky Horror Picture Show, or just or slasher movies. You know, but those. But as far as like, no, let's talk about the spirit of Halloween and then watch this movie. Like, it's not really a thing. I remember when it came out on VHS, they had the commercial where they released it for Christmas, and then at Halloween they tried to do it again, where they're like, for this Halloween, give the gift of the Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm like, what are you doing? Don't try to take a second bite of the apple. That doesn't work.
It is smart though to try and create a movie that's dual holiday, so you cash in twice.
Yeah. Oh no, it's brilliant.
I was going to say, amazing direction from Tim Burton, but as I'm sure everyone out there now knows, Tim Burton didn't actually direct that one.
He did not. And did you know Danny Elfman was the voice of Jack when he's singing?
Oh, yes, I think I did know that. He's good.
Yeah, well, who'd have thought that a brilliant musical composer could also sing?
Could sing really, really well. Yeah, I really like Nightmare Before Christmas. It definitely plucks my former goth kid heartstrings, definitely. Yeah, everything's so sad, man, and I'm sad in Christmas and stuff, and look how big and beautiful the moon is and that weird sloping mountain thing that they do.
Uh-huh.
So many tattoos of people I've seen that got a tattoo of that thing where it's him and Sally standing on the big mountaintop with the moon and everything.
Yay.
I have seen so many tattoos of that.
Wow. I have not, thank God.
It definitely hits all the right marks for a certain sort of person.
Yeah. Did you ever see any of the Ernest movies?
I've seen a couple of them, yes.
Have you seen him Save Christmas?
I have seen him Save Christmas, and I will say probably one of the best cinematic Santas.
Yes, that guy does a great Santa.
Also, the voice of the Sultan in the Aladdin movies.
That's really cool. Nice.
Same guy.
That's awesome. I'm not a fan of that one.
Really, you're not a fan of Ernest?
As a kid, I loved Ernest. Like one of my favorite movies as a maybe 9-year-old was Ernest Scared Stupid, which was the only one I could think of as a Halloween movie.
Miak, gotta get him with the Miak.
Yeah, that's right. M.I. something K. And I think Eartha Kitt plays the witch in the
That's right.
In the raddest treehouse I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Ernest Saves Christmas heart is in the right place, but that's about it.
That's about it. It doesn't hold up. None of them do.
No,
they don't hold up.
But hey, he's Slinky Dog, or he was Slinky Dog until he unfortunately passed away.
Yeah, he was in 2 out of 3 Toy Stories.
He was 2 out of 3. Yeah, actually, chat, that's another underrated one. The Hebrew Hammer, which was like a Comedy Central one they did about a Jewish superhero who fought Andy Dick, the evil son of Santa, who kills him and takes over and tries to ruin Christmas. It's ridiculous, but it's kind of hilarious at the same time. I remember
promos for it and was like, this is not for me.
There's an amazing line in that movie where it's like, the League of Jewish Superheroes. They're like, we need someone to help us defend our holiday. We need the toughest Jewish person we can find. We need Liev Schreiber. And this was like years before Liev Schreiber ever became a thing.
Right.
And became a household name. And I went back and watched the movie and I'm like, holy crap, they knew Liev Schreiber was going to be a thing even back then.
Yeah, before he was just a bit part in Scream.
Yeah. That's way too funny.
Every time I see him in a movie, I go, hey, it's Cotton Weary from Scream.
That guy who was Sabretooth one time, but is in the really awesome Ray Donovan show that you all need to watch.
Yes, yeah. Sabretooth. Man, that's like the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
So I think we should round out our conversation about Christmas specials and so forth with a little movie that stars 2 titans of comedy. That would be Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad in a little film called Jingle
All the Way. Is Schwarzenegger really a comedy titan?
No.
He is now.
Unless you count Kindergarten Cop, which I think is just a solid fucking movie. Just a solid movie through and through.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
What does he do? It's directed by Ivan Reitman, Ghostbusters.
Right.
It's amazing. Also, oddly enough, if you're a huge Silent Hill fan, The School is the basis.
Modeled after that.
Yeah, no, it's the basis for the models for The School in Silent Hill. Bizarre.
That's friggin' nuts.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but Jingle All the Way.
Starring Jake Lloyd before the prequels would ruin his life.
That was the movie. Okay, so I was a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. Still kind of am, but only for old Arnold. But huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. And So naturally, and my buddy and I got into them together, and so when Jingle All the Way came out, we're like, going. So sit down, like a few days after Thanksgiving, probably watch this movie. It's so goddamn terrible.
It is, and yet it's kind of amazing.
And yet it's kind of amazing. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't think this is for me, but I think I might appreciate it in the future. But having seen Jingle All the Way, like when it came out, when they announced Jake Lloyd was playing Anakin, I thought, this movie's fucked.
Even back then.
Even back then, because I was like, Jake Lloyd sucks. Like, he is shit. And then people were like, yeah, but Jingle All the Way, I mean, like, the whole movie is shit. I'm like, no, this kid ruined this movie. He is the whole emotional core of the movie. He is terrible.
Always keep your promises if you want to keep your friends.
No.
What Turbo Man says.
Shut up, Booster, nobody likes you. Fucking, the Booster thing was amazing. Just everything about that was brilliant. It really, if you're not familiar with Jingle All the Way, if you were a Power Rangers fan, you will love it.
I was, and I did.
Because it's like, for me, Jingle All the Way is almost to Power Rangers what Galaxy Quest is to Star Trek.
A little. They don't get into it nearly as deep, but it kind of is.
Like, I wish that there was a Turbo Man movie that was like that, which would just make that total direct
apparently, from what I understand, they actually did film a little short for one of the future DVDs.
Oh, that's cool.
I never saw it. I always wanted to, but apparently they kind of put a little one together. So someone had the idea of what you were saying.
That's amazing. Because, like, okay, so Jingle All the Way is a little movie about a workaholic dad who has a kid who's obsessed with, Turbo Man, who is like if the Red Ranger were by himself.
Yeah.
And we're also the Rocketeer. And,
yes.
Phil Hartman is the bad guy who's trying
Yes, he is. Friggin' Lionel Hutz. How great is that?
He's trying to bang Jake Lloyd's mom.
That's his big evil plot.
Yeah, and Arnold is battling with Sinbad, who's a disgruntled postal worker, because that was a joke back in the 90s. And
instead of being really kind of sad nowadays when you're like, oh.
Well, they make a lot of terrorism and bomb jokes.
I know, right? You go back and look at that now and you're like, they could never have done this today.
Exactly.
Not this climate.
By the way, because the movie tries to be real, like it tries to be a real movie, and then it like goes off the rails, like when Sinbad gives the police a mail bomb, and then it blows up. And in true Daffy Duck fashion, like their hair is blown back and they have soot on their faces, and you're like, what is happening? And then, of course, later, Arnold puts on the Turbo Man costume, but it works for some reason.
For some reason, just for the parade that he was in.
But he does get to say, it's Turbo time.
It's Turbo time.
It's Turbo time. And then blasts off and I guess makes the day better for his son. I don't know, but like the Turbo Man doll, they also hit on that whole like Tickle Me Elmo craze, the idea of being that there's this one toy that everybody wants
and will kill for.
That they'll kill for, and that mothers and like department stores will just trample each other to get. Turbo Man was that character, or was that toy.
My favorite moment of the movie is the black market Santa racket.
Yes.
That they got going around, and again, like I forget which one it is, but one of like the big muscle-bound Santa is actually like a famous wrestler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who they dressed up for that moment to fight Arnold.
I don't know. I don't know.
I want to say it's Kevin Nash, but maybe it's not.
Yeah, I did not know wrestling back then, so I don't really know. But,
Kevin Nash has made a real career of being just like the heavy in stuff. He's the guy who fights Thomas Jane as the Russian in the 2004 Punch.
Oh, no way!
That's him. It's just like we need a big, beefy guy to come fight and not say anything. It was
really
Big
cool.
Show. It was Big Show. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, okay. I used to have a wrestling PlayStation game.
Nice.
In which we would create wrestlers.
Always the best.
Like, we would make our own, and we would always, of course, max out, like, we made him the fattest person ever, and then gave him the Big Show's theme song. So when he came out,
Big Show.
It's the Big Show. So, yeah.
Still has that theme to this day.
Is it really?
He does. He's way too old to be doing it now. He gets booed every time he comes up. Everyone chants, retire already, retire already.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Because his knees don't work anymore, and he sweats all the time now, but he's like, I'm still doing it, though.
Yeah. That's really sad.
It is, some of these guys just refuse to retire, and by all account, he's a very nice man. Is the
Right.
thing too? So they don't want to make him retire if he doesn't want to.
Yeah, yeah. But they're like, you must have saved up enough by now, right, man? Like, just write a book about getting into a real fight behind the scenes with somebody bigger than you, and
Yeah,
you'll be
really.
fine. Um, but the Turbo Man doll was kind of an interesting thing because you mentioned you always wanted a Turbo Man doll.
Hmm.
They did, in fact, make them.
I
And,
know.
it's funny because my old comic book retailer was obsessed with getting one.
Because it's a real, status symbol if you have a turbo.
Yes! And he's like, I gotta get a Turbo Man doll. And we were at ToyCon maybe 2 years ago or a year ago. I don't remember which year it was. But they had, like, just one of the... It's just a big gym filled with retail... Just card tables full with your past. And on one of them was just... It looked like it was ripped from the movie of Turbo Man. And you push the button and he says it's turbo time and all kinds of other crap. And by the way, not in the box, no accessories, just Turbo Man. Boom. Like, if you had him, here he is. And I saw him and I thought, like, I should get him for my retailer and then blow his mind. But then I thought, like, maybe he doesn't really care. And then...
How much was it?
I don't remember how much he wanted for it. It wasn't like more than $50.
It wasn't an exorbitant fee.
I mean, no.
It wasn't $600 for Turbo Man.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Because this is the real world where no one cares about Turbo Man.
Yeah, unlike in the fake
Tiffany's
world.
correcting me. She thinks it was about $90.
Oh, okay, see, that's too much.
That is far too much for a broken toy. For a
That's
movie that no
literally
one
too-
likes. You could just eBay that crap. But I remember saying, but I looked at it, yeah, that's right, we found out the price, and I went, oh no, this is not worth a joke. And then we went to my friend, and I was like, hey, did you see the Turbo Man doll? And he's like, and he was like, where? Like, you saw Turbo Man? And I'm like, yeah, he's over there. And he just, boom, gone.
It's like you saw the Holy Grail. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, there.
What was it like to stand in its presence?
Yeah, I'm like, it was lame. I got to hold it and everything. But then, I think a few weeks later, I went into the comic book store, and Turbo Man was sitting on the cash register. And I go, oh, you got him? And he goes like, yeah, I got him. Like,
And to think the legacy of Jingle All the Way is that, like, 30 years later, they would make Jingle All the Way 2 starring Larry the Cable Guy.
is that a thing?
That's a real thing. That came out, like, last year.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. That's the exact same sound I made, too, when I heard it. Oh.
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 Oh, that. Oh, well.
Because here's the thing, like, you say it's a movie no one liked. Jingle All the Way has a real cult following now. It's like the Plan 9 from outer space of Christmas movies. It's like
Yes.
right up there with Santa versus the Martians.
Right. But the problem with most cult classic movies of today is that there are very few that are made that are bad movies in which they know, or which they don't know it's bad.
They're in on the joke is the thing.
The Jingle All the Way people know they're making a shitty cash grab Christmas movie. And they're also trying to have some social relevance by doing the booster bit and making by making Turbo Man, his whole thing is just a parody. You know, like, the whole thing is the comedy comes from the interaction between Arnold and Sinbad, and that is their legitimate attempt at humor.
Yeah.
But I don't think that is enough to qualify cult classic or cult followings the way that, like, Plan 9 or The Room has. It needs to be a massive vanity project in which the person
That
who's
fails
making
spectacularly.
in which the person that's making it is genuinely trying to make a good movie and is so completely unaware of themselves. But it gets all the way through that the gods themselves have given this person an opportunity to tell their horrible, tasteless piece of shit story.
Like some Manos Hands of Fate bullshit.
Right, like, just and here it is on celluloid forever. Here is your mistake forever, and like, that's where cult following comes from. That's where the humor is. I think they don't even exist anymore. Like, there's a movie. You know what? I'm not even gonna mention it. I was gonna say my friend was in a movie and it's really bad, and I want it to be picked up by like Riff Tracks or something.
You want to be the next thing. You want to be the next
and it has such potential to be the next thing. The problem is, if I let it go, they'll know it was me.
You can't let it come, but you gotta leak it out on some form. Like,
but if I do, they'll know it was me because no one got a copy of that movie except me. So
all roads lead back to you, is what you're saying.
My fingerprint is on that movie, so there's no way I can release it. Or even quietly, I could just, oh, anonymous, here it is, it's on Vimeo, you're welcome. Nope, can't do it. But yeah, that said. We made a joke in the first Christmas special I ever made for the channel, in which I said that like there aren't really any new Christmas specials. There isn't really anything that like has that cult following.
Few things catch on. I would say the last one that caught on pop culture wise was Bad Santa is the last one.
Yeah, and which they're making a sequel of too, but they're having everybody back except for John Ritter, of course. But you know,
and with friggin' Bernie Mac too.
Yeah, so Bernie Mac. That's right. Jeez Christ.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah, but you know, the last time they made one was like 1989 or Bad Santa. Do you think we can get anything like what we had, like our stock of classic Christmas specials in the future or today? Or do you think it's kind of like it either has to be self-referential, ironic, or transcendental? It can't just be a pure, hey, here's something, hey, listen, like you can't just have like somebody who like like a Ted Turner type just going, hey, yo, I love Christmas, here's the thing about it.
Speaking of ones that were self-referential and on the joke and very meta, did you ever see the Colbert Christmas Greatest Gift of All, which was like him riffing on all those bad like Bob Hope variety shows?
No, I did not, but I bet it's great.
It is. It genuinely is. That's another one I watch every year. To be fair, it's like 5 or 6 years old now, and some of the pop culture references are starting to break down a little bit, but I think they made it enough to kind of shoot for this timeless cheese factor.
Yeah.
And like literally the first song he sings is called Hey, It's Another Christmas Song. Another crappy holiday cash-in Christmas song.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly self-aware. And like Jon Stewart stops by and they sing a song about Hanukkah, and Colbert, of course, in classic Colbert fashion, is like, yeah, but Christmas is much cooler though. It's like, do you get a bunch of presents? Do you have a massive feast? You know, does it honor events great and amazing like the birth of our Lord? And Stewart's like, oil that burned for 8 days. Yeah. It's not our nicest holiday. We have better ones, but this one kind of got picked up because it's in relation to your holiday.
Yep.
Willie Nelson sings a song in it too about giving the gift of weed, and it's pretty amazing.
Now they also released the Very Murray Christmas on Netflix, which
they did. I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either, but I read a review of it in which they said that like it was good. Like they said it was cool, but they also said that the idea is that Netflix was kind of like, here is a Christmas special that more or less says from Netflix, we're replacing TV and we're able to do the things that TV used to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think they might be right, but I'm looking forward to seeing if it was effective, because it's also forgivably short. Like it's not, and I'm sure it's as short as Bill Murray's attention span.
These days, yeah.
But yeah, like in another vein, like so there's that question: is it possible for them to make like a timeless Christmas special that's just purely attempting to be a Christmas special?
There's no way of telling what's going to catch on, and again, I think some stuff catches on by accident even.
Oh, yeah. But the other thing is,
It's a Wonderful Life. People hold that up as this amazing thing. It's a Wonderful Life got slaughtered at the box office when it came. The only reason it's a huge deal now is because they let the copyright lapse, and because of it, TV networks could play it every year and not have to pay for it. And now, just from repetition, it has become a classic.
It is lovely, by the way. It's a great story. It's directed by Franz Capra. It's an amazing flick. It's got Jimmy Stewart's it's a wonderful performance. I like It's a Wonderful Life.
Jimmy Stewart in the role in the role that everybody's always quoting and trying to draw impressions of him in that movie.
Merry Christmas, movie house.
Oh, you just can't buy people, Mr. Potter.
Well, it's not my house. It's in Fred's house and
Fred's
Jerry's
house.
house. What are you doing with my house? My money in your house, Fred? Punch.
They all have your money. It's them, not me.
Bedford Falls. By the way, blew my mind when they referenced it in the Batman animated series with Christmas with the Joker.
That's great.
It's like, well, hey, can we watch It's a Wonderful Life? I'm like, can you say that?
Could never got past. It's Batman. I never liked it. Could never get past the title.
I love that line. That's so fucking funny. I could never get past the title because it's not A Wonderful Life. Because if it was, my parents wouldn't be dead.
Which is so what he wants to say.
Yeah, like, God damn it, Batman. You have two people who love you in this house and one of them waits on you hand and foot and gives up his holidays to fucking help you punch the Penguin. Get over yourself for a day.
Comfort and Joy, another really amazing. I covered that one on Comics TV already this week, but yeah, Comfort and Joy, the Justice League one, is really awesome.
Yeah.
Where Martian Manhunter goes to Smallville.
Oh, yeah. Where he sings his Martian song, and yeah, that's a really sweet message.
Because he heard the church choir through his telepathy thing sing It Came Upon a Midnight Clear.
Yeah. Ugh, that's so good. There's an old comic book, I think Neil Adams drew it, in which it's like Christmas in Gotham or something like that, in which Batman, like, sings with carolers and like puts on a beard and
nice.
I love the image of like because it's Neil Adams at the top of his game, so it's just awesome looking. And I think this year I'm finally gonna watch It's a Miracle on 34th Street for the first time.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen that movie.
Original version or remake?
The original version.
Yeah, I guess that's always the thing with some of these. Which are you gonna watch, the originals or the remake?
Well. Was there were they going to make It's a Wonderful Life 2? Was that the idea? I
don't know if they...
I heard that they were going to do that, and then they just opted not to because of just the public outcry.
It's a Wonderful Life 2, The Empire Strikes Back.
Technically, they already made one. There's a movie from like the 80s or 90s called Clarence.
That's right, and it's about the dude,
and it's about the angel or whatever. It's fucking bad. But like, I would like to... imagine that but I'm gonna see but don't remake it and just I don't know. I like Christmas movies, I like Christmas specials. I like to just indulge in cheerfulness for like maybe a day
Same
or
here.
two. It's just something
yeah,
really
because it's the only time of year you can get away with all the saccharine sweetness. And yes, Chad, I know I said telepathy. Yes, thank you.
I heard telepathy and I'm like, I'm gonna let it ride. I'm gonna let it ride.
Telepathy, I can say it. It was weird.
Z-Prime's like, fucking no. I am on you, Cape Joel.
I will not let you get away with mispronunciation, mofo. not on Christmas.
Yeah. Oh no.
That.
Yeah. But if you are watching this episode after the fact, I want to wish you guys a happy holidays and let us know in the comment section down below your absolute bar none, die-in-the-wool favorite Christmas or holiday special of all time. Let us know in the comment section down below. And Joel, thank you so much for joining me on this holly jolly episode of Elseworlds Exchange.
I was gonna say, I feel like I really only scratched the surface of these.
This is every episode of Elseworlds Exchange. Well, we've been talking for 2.5 hours, and we've only mentioned 5 things, and there's 1,000 more to go.
Dude, we didn't talk about the Simpsons Christmas special, which is technically the first episode. We didn't talk about the Hey Arnold special that involves Vietnam.
Right. Nope, we did not do that. There's so many things we did not get to. But once again, the idea here being that the Elseworlds Exchange kind of touches on all those cultural touchstones, and then throws it to you guys to kind of nail it and bring it home for us. And also, of course,
there's not enough time in the day.
There's not enough time in the day. There's also, of course, leaves us opportunities to have more things to talk about in the next episode or in the sequel to the episode in which we talk about something.
Maybe this will become a new holiday tradition. Maybe this will become something that the families all gather around and watch the Christmas episode of Elseworlds Exchange.
That would be lovely, right? This is kind of a milestone. It's the first holiday-themed episode of the Elseworlds Exchange. Not bad.
They can never take that away from us.
That's right. And by the way, if you're watching this live, congratulations, because I'm not going to release this episode formally until probably next week, because I got too much stuff going.
There you go.
But maybe Friday. I don't know. But we'll see. But the point being,
That's a good idea to bank these. I know we're not sure with scheduling because you put out your big video on
Thursday, so it's like, no, and of course, Joel, do you have anything that you'd like to pimp out, that you'd like to share or get the chat excited about?
Well, actually, yeah. Thanks for saying it. The holiday exchange. Yeah, I like that. I like that chat. I like that Nimrod Canada. That's a good name. Yeah. If you head on over to my channel right now, I have a special celebration video, Cape Joel. Thanks to the many great people out there watching and great people like you that I've collaborated with, I crossed the 2K subscriber line, which is
congratulations.
Funny. It's the second time I've crossed it, actually. I crossed it on my old channel, and now I just crossed it again. But hey, why not celebrate, especially in this holiday season when all the shows I review are all on hiatus, so I can use all the content I can get. New episode of the Rack Attack, talking about all the comics that came out this week. I'm going to be taking a break from that for like a week or so because I want to put together my list for the top 10 best comics of 2015.
Oh, cool.
Which I think if I can use that list, I can double up. Maybe that's a topic for us in the future, because I imagine we do have 10 comics that we loved from 2015
no
we'd love to talk about.
No doubt.
And I think tomorrow, because it's the day before Star Wars The Force Awakens opens everywhere over the world, I'm going to have a very special Star Wars themed video. I basically just walked around to 3 of the stores in my area with my camera and tried to capture all the Star Wars merchandise that I could find.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love that idea.
There's a lot of it, and it's like, too, I tried to challenge myself. I'm like, okay, let's see if we can find crossover items because it's Star Wars and it's Christmas. Let's see what we can find together.
I love that idea.
And I no joke, now I own a Chewbacca stocking.
Oh,
I needed one anyway, and it was there, so now I have one.
You know what's funny? We were at the Target looking at different stockings, and they have like, these. They had the one that got us looking at them was the R2D2, like almost like a knitted sweater pattern stocking, and we were like, this is great. And then looked at the other ones, and they were all crappy, and we were like, oh, well, there's no point in getting another one if there's only one good Star Wars stocking. But I will say, thanks to like Disney and Lucasfilm like teaming up, we're getting some really solid Star Wars merch. Like, there's some amazing hoodies and shirts and sweaters and stuff that we're getting that are just I've never seen before. And like,
I own more than a few of them, and I gave more than a few as gifts this year.
Nice.
It's funny. I have a younger cousin now who's really into that Star Wars Rebels thing.
Oh, yeah.
That show. And the last time I saw him, I must have seemed like the coolest adult ever, because I was more than willing to talk to him about how great Zeb is and Star Wars Rebels is. And I'm like, man, I've never felt cool before, but now I do. This kid thinks I'm awesome, and it's like, no, I'm not. It's a dark path on which I'm down. Don't learn to
follow me.
Football. Learn to throw a football. Read a book that doesn't have pictures in it. Do anything.
Yeah, that's funny because it's true. It's true.
Look, kid, if you keep going like me, then one day you're gonna have a weekly YouTube show where you talk about Christmas specials.
Exactly.
This is your future. I am your ghost of friggin', Christmas future right here is what I have.
Let me lift up my Star Wars hoodie and do my Emperor Palpatine impression.
Good.
Yeah. Over here on ComicPOP, we just released a special off-the-rack episode of Superman American Alien #2 on DC Fans. DC's official fan channel. We have a video, and what the hell, comic population? Let's give it some love. Go over there. I'll put a link in the description box below this video. Right below the link to Cape Joel's channel, you can always find a link to that episode.
Thank you.
Check it out. Give it some love. Give DC a reason to work with us again. Damn, you should have seen the swag box we got for doing that video.
Did you now?
Not to mention the fact that I also got to read Max Landis's Superman American Alien 2 a week early, which was awesome.
Pretty slick.
God damn, man. Max Landis is crushing that book.
He is.
We got to get him on this show because I want to just talk Superman with that dude for the next 3 fucking hours.
Well, he did Red Letter Media, so he's not above doing internet shows.
Yeah, man, yeah, but he loves those guys. Like, if you watched both those episodes of him on Red Letter Media, he is like a fan, like a fanboy of those guys. He loves them. Which I think is kind of sweet. It was kind of nice to see. It was like,
it is nice. He did a great bit too over on his own channel, or no, I think it was from another podcast. It was kind of like a one-man storyteller type show he did,
Yes.
talking about being a screenwriter, and he related it all to Minions, and he brought it all back to Minions, so much to the point that he wore a yellow suit and dyed his hair blonde.
Holy crap.
And he did, and he says, you know, the thing about Minions are they sell more now than the Avengers, more than any other brand out there, and they weren't even supposed to be in Despicable Me 1. They were a project that had been sitting around for a while,
Really?
and the screenwriter just got told to put Minions into the movie.
That's hilarious. I saw Minions. I fucking hated it.
I've never seen Despicable Me 1 or 2, even though they say those are the good ones because the Minions are in small
doses. I didn't see the
doses.
second one, but the first one was cute.
Steve Carell, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, does a great job.
Playing a Bond villain.
Yeah. And, of course, if you're looking for a quick teaser about what's happening on back issues, we're doing a Star Wars book.
Nice, nice. Can you give a hint of that? Is it anything people know? Is it something new? Is it something old?
It might be one of the... No. I mean, it's a Star Wars comic. It was put out by Dark Horse, and it was... it's probably the most commercial one.
Now you see, if it were me, I would have done Legacy, because Joel loves him some John Ostrander Star Wars Legacy.
Oh, yeah. I considered doing Dark Empire, but we didn't do Dark Empire. And I almost did the John Cassidy, like, current run. But then I thought, like, maybe I'll save it. Also, I only have it on digital, so I was like, and I hate doing back issues with digital ones.
You know, it's also the thing, too. It's like, it's not like this is going to be the last Star Wars movie by the sounds of it. It sounds like this is going to become a regular thing now every year, like Avengers movies.
Yeah, which is fine by me as long as they're awesome. Which, of course, what's it? Rogue Squadron?
Rogue One.
Rogue One looks fucking cool. It looks like Firefly in the Star Wars universe, which...
Yes, it does.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
We've opened up the universe, so every year you're going to get a main Star Wars movie, maybe something about smugglers or bounty hunters or Ewoks or Imperial agents.
We got 2 movies with Ewoks. We have 2 movies with Ewoks. We don't need any more.
Two movies with Ewoks that are perhaps even more unknown than the holiday special.
Yeah, that said, by the way, better than the holiday special and almost as, like, about on par with the prequels.
Caravan of Courage, man. Caravan of Courage.
That ship that Wilford Brimley lives in looks awesome.
Is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Also, Wilford Brimley's in the movie.
Maybe in the future they cured his diabetes. Maybe they found a cure for it in the future.
Yeah, he makes no attempt to be anything other than Wilford Brimley.
And the diabetes.
Yeah. And then I struck my wife. And I realized my wife's been dead for years. Who the hell did I hit?
Who did I hit? Why is that so good?
I know. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for so much for watching this show and for the love. Thank you guys for wanting to watch this show. I've heard a lot of clamoring for when the hell are we going to get Elseworlds Exchange, and it's just simply we're both pretty busy people, but we try to make it
holiday
happen.
Crunch time, man.
That
holiday
really was
crunch
what it is. Once January hits, it'll be like, hey, how would you guys like to see Elseworlds Exchange 3 days a week?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
That way I can be on 5 podcasts a week, so I can literally podcast every single day of the week. You'll never have to stop talking. You'll just carry your Yeti with you everywhere you go, just constantly talking into it.
Exactly.
I'll be like Prince. I'll just put mics up all over my house.
You're just wired for sound all day.
All day, every day, nonstop.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should get into periscoping. I know certain people love to do that.
My phone is just a phone. If someone wants to gift me a better phone or a better plan, maybe I can do that.
Well, the holidays are coming, man. Who knows? Maybe
I've been very good
Santa's
this year.
son will drop off a shiny new iPhone in your future.
Maybe Santa Claus shall
maybe
gift
Krampus,
it to me.
In the middle of your beatings, will drop off a phone for you.
It's like, man, Krampus knocked the crap out of me with those birch rods, but he dropped his phone.
Yeah, but he dropped his phone, and it was jailbroken, so...
Man, so many great contacts in here. The Tooth Fairy, Captain Kwanzaa, the Hanukkah Zombie.
I think that's a pretty solid special right there. During the beating,
stealing Krampus's phone.
Stealing Krampus's phone? Just razzling the contacts?
Just, making crank calls to, like, the St. Patrick's Day leprechaun.
Yeah. Love it. That's ours. We own that.
That's our original idea. Do not steal. TM Elseworld Exchange.
Joel, thank you so much for joining me, and chat, thank you so much
Always
for
a pleasure.
participating. And if you're watching this after the fact, thank you guys so much for watching the show. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and see us next time on another episode of the Elseworlds Exchange. I am Sal. This is Cape Joel. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye-bye.